This episode of the Party Loaded podcast is proudly sponsored by Audible.com. Check out their awesome catalogue of audiobooks with over 180,000 titles to choose from. And be sure to grab a free audiobook on us and support the show by visiting audibletrial.com/endgame.
Let's party.
Hello, welcome back to Party Loaded. It is the 28th of September, it's a Wednesday evening, lovely evening to chat about video games with the three people who are surrounding me on the interwebs tonight. We have on one virtual side, Ollie, on another virtual side we have Jam, and
Hi.
I'm also going to introduce for the first time tonight in her new upgraded format, we have Omega Jen. Hello.
No, I prefer Mimonaut.
Mimonaut, all right.
I'm the Mimonaut.
All right, well, let's kick into that part of the discussion immediately because I think it warrants a explanation. So there was some stuff that's been going on the last couple of weeks, and we kind of hinted at it in last week's episode, but didn't go into a lot of detail because there was a couple of things that needed to be confirmed first. But Mimo, take it away. What's going on?
I'm going to be an Mimonaut at PAX. Da-da-da-da. Woohoo! Hooray! So if you don't know what we're talking about, at PAX Australia, and at all PAXs, in fact, they choose 20 people randomly who nominate themselves to be part of the draw. We will compete against each other in various video games and board games or tabletop type arrangements.
Mm-hmm.
And the ultimate winner will get the chance to get a trip to any of the PAXs around the world. So for all of the PAXs in the States, the big joke is you're just winning a trip to Australia because why wouldn't you? It's the biggest sort of trip. But yeah, so I randomly got the call on my birthday last week.
The timing was pretty sensational.
Super exciting. And I spoke to Travis at Penny Arcade, and I was incredibly excited. The number came up as unknown on my phone, and I thought, I don't know, I'd only just got back in from a meeting and I was sitting down talking to my colleague and my phone cut off. I'll just check it. And it was him. And I was super excited. And in my application, I said that if they chose me to be an Mimonaut, that I'd be the most excited person that they'd ever had as an Mimonaut. And so he called me and said he was expecting big things, but I had to say, I'm in the office. I can't really be as excited. But yay, I'm going to be an Mimonaut.
There was a restrained sploosh. Is what you're saying.
Oh. Wow. Jesus. 3 minutes. 3 minutes, guys.
New record.
3 minutes. Okay.
Pushing them boundaries. Yeah.
Oh, it's so gross.
You couldn't express your excitement in the manner that you wished.
No. I wanted to jump up and down and tell everybody that I was an Mimonaut, but the fact that 100% of the people that I work with would have no idea what that meant.
They'd look at you and go,
I did. I messaged the one colleague I know who knew what that was. I was like, oh my God, guess what?
Yeah.
Basically, hung up the phone and, fumbled it and, WhatsApped the whole group that we have. We have a big PAX group who will go over from Western Australia over to Melbourne for PAX Australia. And so I messaged all you guys and was like, this just happened.
Yeah.
Very, very excited and got all my confirmations and stuff over the weekend. So I will be spending a fair chunk of PAX competing on stage or in front of people, at least, as far as I can tell.
Yep.
And the main goal is just not to be one of the first 5 to be knocked out. So here's hoping. Yep. We'll report back to you in November.
We're gonna, you've got an intense training session coming up.
Yeah.
We'll get you ready.
Envision a montage where you're basically, plugging controllers in and cracking glasses full of raw eggs and just downing them and jogging around.
Oh, gross. Got to consume bits and bytes.
Yep.
And all those types of things. No, I mostly just have to practice with different controllers because I'm absolutely rubbish. I'm a PC gamer at heart, so I very much doubt there'll be PC games to be played. Most of them are on Xbox 360 or Nintendo 64 or Xbox One, etc. So,
yes, it's
very stressful, cool. A little bit nerve-wracking, but we'll see.
super exciting.
Yeah, and exciting, of course, exciting.
So when you got the news, I was super excited for you. There was a momentary flash of, wasn't me.
Everyone checked their phone. I bet you've all checked to see if you had a missed call.
Yeah,
watched
pretty
your
much.
phone the rest of that day.
Well, it's been something that's been discussed, endlessly amongst our particular group of PAX goers for the last few years, and I think we've, the people who are interested in that, and there's a core bunch of us have, always been sort of theorizing, if we get picked, what's it going to be like? What are we going to get to play? And it's kind of one of those, if you win lotto kind of discussions. So. But it's super cool that someone's name came up and we get to share in the fun. It's going to be really exciting. It's going to be a different event this year already, just by the virtue of this, and without anything else that we haven't become aware of yet that's actually going to be on show, which is awesome. So super
You just have to get that picture of in front of the big meet your Mimonaut sign with the headshots before I get the X across my face. So.
Yep.
First tweet of day one. So this happened.
Yeah.
I've seen that in the foyer on the day before. So we should just
the day
there.
before. We'll get there the day before.
How crushing will that be though? Having to walk past that every single day of the event if that happens early.
Hey, don't jump to conclusions.
If that happens, every time we walk past it, I promise you I will take a sad selfie. A sad selfie.
Yeah.
No, sad selfie.
No, it's going to be great.
I got told the other day that by saying that I'm not going to win is loser talk, and I should be aiming to win. But honestly, there's going to have to be some fairly choice games that come up for me to win.
Yeah. Well, we will get the posse together and we'll get you prepped and ready, and we'll have a bit of a team chat about that a little later tonight. So that should be fun. Yeah.
And then we'll all cosplay as you so we can stand in.
Yeah, that's going to
Everyone has bad eyesight. Boom. Great cosplaying.
Punch controllers across the room.
Just punch controllers, accidentally walk into door
Just punch
frames, trip for no reason. Those types of things.
We just need to make your default look something that's so ridiculous that it can be emulated by anybody, really. So, just put on the fake mask stuff, a wig. We'll get it right. There'll be a default look that we can emulate. It'll
just
be good.
3 kids in a lab coat.
Yep. That'll be good. No, I mentioned to my wife sort of when you found out that this was all happening, and I said, hey, Imogen's going to be in a Mimonaut. She turned around and she said, "What? How? Who does she know at NASA?" And I'm just like, no.
I'm going to be an astronaut.
No,
Yay.
that's not what we're talking about.
I tell you what, I'll not be as excited about being an astronaut as I am about being a Mimonaut.
Yeah, that's right.
Space is scary, man.
So yeah, that's a bit of fun recent activity. So what other video game activity have we had going on in the last week? So Ollie, what have you been up to?
I played our favourite old chestnut, GTA Online. And it was good times. So I tried out the new GTA Racing with the stunt racing with all the tubes and the speed ups and the things, and it is infinite tubes. And it is so much better than the previous racing. So much better.
Now, I theorise, I'm going to theorise that one of the reasons why I may find this better than the previous version is because a lot of the tubes would prevent me from falling off the edge of the track. No?
No.
Okay.
I've watched a lot of this streamed stuff online of the wacky races, and they look
still
amazing.
wacky.
But definitely falling off the edge is still a thing.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, many maps take advantage of that.
Right.
So yeah, it is such a cleaner experience for the racing, because before they had to delicately glitch objects into each other to create things, which is ridiculous, by the way, the amount of patience that would have taken.
Oh, in terms
Now
of
instead
map
they get
creation.
glitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now they have these really nice pre-formatted tubes and stuff that do it all for them, and then they still do weird glitches and make things incredible. So it was very, very interesting and a lot of fun.
There's something that I've not seen enough of with those kind of wacky races so far, in my mind, are moving parts of the track. Say a train crossing past with, cars that have gaps in them that you can ride a bike through or something like that. It just seems like an underused concept, is all.
Do you remember the windmill races where you'd always driving around through the windmills, the wind farm?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So there's turbines that you can put in the tunnels that do that.
Oh, yes, I do remember seeing a
So
couple
you
of
can
pictures.
emulate,
yes.
so it doesn't have to be over the windmill thing, because everyone went on there. It's like, we'll just put a turbine thing in there. There's a turbine in there. There's a couple of moving, like, markers you can use, that sort of thing. So there are moving components now as well.
I tend to
super
like
cool.
the creative aspect of these sorts of things. I may have to have a crack at making one of these maps at some point. If
You will need a lot of patience.
Yeah.
yeah,
Map making in GTA is not for the impatient.
interesting. Well, the tools intrigue me. I'm going to take a look eventually. I think would be good. Sure. Well, what else is going on? Jam, you were talking about something interesting today. What have you been planning?
Yeah. So I went and visited my sister over the weekend, and we played The Cave, which is made by Double Fine Productions, makers of Monkey Island. And
Good old Ron
it's
Gilbert.
Funny. Yeah. It's a funny, cute little sort of. It's a 2D adventure sort of platformer-ish, but there's puzzle elements, and basically at the very start you've just got these 7 characters standing in front of you, and you have to choose 3 of them to go into the cave. And each of them have a funny personality, a special skill, and a storyline. So as you enter the cave, the things you encounter are determined by the characters you've chosen.
Okay.
And yeah, it's fun. You've got to use the environment the right way to get past certain points. You've got to use items you pick up, in interesting ways, like someone's hurling dynamite at you. I have a water bucket. Okay, I'm going to run around and catch the dynamite in the water bucket so that I can get through that wall of rocks. And it's funny. It's just their trademark humor. It's silliness and hilarious language and kooky.
Nice. Is the
It was
story
a lot of fun.
involved, or is it very much more a platformer than a narrative engine?
It's more of a platformer that creates a theme for the level. So the area I saw was the Knight's storyline. Knight is one of the characters, and I believe we completed it because he pulled the sword from the stone. And I didn't see much of the other ones. There's like a scientist, there's a pair of twin children, there's a hillbilly, there's a time traveler. It was really annoying to play with because she makes this
Pair of
noise.
children, a hillbilly, a
Bobbers
time
above
traveler.
the ground.
One
Yeah.
of these things is not like the others.
And they each have one unique skill which looks like is crucial to completing their storyline because, for example, the time traveler can warp a short distance so she can get through certain barricades. Yeah, it's really funny and enjoyable, and I want to play more of it. I'm looking forward to playing more of it. And it's just got funny, silly little things like all of the torches that you cross, and, there's torches everywhere to light up levels. They all have different names, like Flamey or whatever. It's silliness. But
What did you play it on, Jam?
This is on Xbox One.
Oh, I think I saw that it has an iOS app.
Oh, really?
Excellent.
Yeah.
Interesting. So
I
you
will look that up.
play it on tablet, do you think, or it couldn't
Yeah,
be
I think
phone,
so.
surely?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And you quite often need all 3 characters. There's a reason you need to go in with 3 characters. It means you can play the game. You don't experience the entire game until you've played with all 7 characters, which would be 3 playthroughs. And apparently each character has 2 different endings. But for a lot of the puzzles you encounter, you literally need all 3. You have to swap between them, like set one to do an action or swap between them in a quick enough fashion for them each to do a particular action to complete a puzzle and get past.
Do you think they've stress tested that mechanic enough so that there's no situations where if you have the wrong combination of 3, you can't progress?
No, it's not that sort of thing. So the only point in which it's important that you have the right character is when you're playing through the storyline, it appears, for that character. So it simply won't pop up. Like no other character could have completed this Knight storyline because at one point in the level, he's literally the only one who could have gotten through a particular obstacle. So that's the only point where it would obstruct you so that, you can't mess it up. Every other puzzle is usually, or so far as I've seen, just a case of getting a sequence of 3 things done correctly.
Right. Yeah.
Available on Android, iOS, PlayStation 3, 360, Wii U, Windows, Linux, and Mac OS.
Oh, wow.
So
that's a fair
pretty
fair
much
list.
everywhere.
No, I was going to say, when I saw the information online about it, the description of some of the mechanics, it reminded me a lot of the game that we played for Party Game of the Month a while back earlier this year, the Gianna Sisters Twisted Dreams.
Oh.
Yeah. How you switch between the two sisters and interact with the environment in different ways.
It's less of a platformer and more of a solve the level kind of puzzle game.
Right.
Yeah.
So a little bit more like Inside.
Sort of.
A little bit more like that, yeah.
Yeah. But really good fun. And this was after a solid evening / afternoon of playing Overcooked. Oh my God. We played so much. So much Overcooked with two friends. It was hilarious. We managed to 3-star all but one level.
Oh, wow.
Apparently, because the reason we were having trouble is because it was one of the space levels where you have a lot happening around the outside, sort of at a distance, but all of the core cooking and chopping functions happened in this really tight, small space, and you had 4 burners going, 2 chopping blocks, and a sink in this really tiny space. And with 4 people, it was just insanely difficult. But apparently, it's just after we left, the guys started, had a crack at it as 2-player and managed to 3-star it like that. But it's so good. I love that game so much.
Nice. So speaking of awesome games that people are likely to love, now, Ollie, you remember this little game called Super Hot that you played earlier in the year?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I remember how much you enjoyed the puzzle element of sort of working out each of the different encounters in that game and sort of, the different angles that you can sort of overcome the obstacles and the foes that you're facing and that kind of thing. Boy, have I got a game to recommend to you, my friend. I finally got around to playing the new Hitman after many, many months of sort of chatting about it briefly on the show. And I'm very pleased to report that this game is legit as hell. It is really good. So,
what was it on?
I'm playing it on PC, and I think it may only be on PC at the moment. I'll have to fact check that. It's the episodic Hitman structure that we've sort of mentioned a couple of times. They do the elusive targets thing every couple of months, which is like a special feature event where there's like a one-shot attempt at trying to take down like a high-profile target and that sort of thing. And all of the different levels are sort of released periodically over a course of every month or two. So anyway, I just picked up the starter pack, which consists of the training missions in the first level in the game, and I've just been playing through that the last couple of days. Man, this game is awesome. It is super, super good at simulating all of the different things that, all of the different angles that you could approach an assassination sort of mission from. So you obviously play as the titular character himself, Hitman, Agent 47. Everyone knows this guy from, many, many different games and movies now. And, one of the things that I have to get my head around every time I slip into these games is that the dude that I'm controlling is not you, Ollie, because it just looks uncanny. It's freaky.
It's true. I do have a tattoo of a barcode on the back of my head.
From the back, if you were wearing a suit, it would be hard to tell the difference. But anyway, and you're basically given a bit of information about the target that you're trying to take out, and there's usually conditions that you have to apply during the mission, and you can challenge yourself with some weird and wacky ones too. So at their most basic, they'll be basically kill the target and don't get spotted, or kill the target and leave the scene without getting caught or killed, essentially. But you can actually, after you've completed missions, and sometimes before, depending on what you observe, actually see all of the other different methods that you can use to kill the target and all of the other different sort of challenging things you can do during the encounter. Like, for example, one that you can pick up in the training mission is you can actually distract the guards by turning off a generator. That's a challenge. If you can find the generator and turn it off and distract the guards, that way you unlock a little sort of bonus perk. You can get like a little perk for switching disguises X number of times. So if you're able to switch disguise between different guards or staff or other characters in the map, then you can unlock achievements from doing that kind of thing. It just gets more and more incrementally sort of challenging. But the ways that you can take out the target are super inventive. So the training mission, I had a few different options. You can just go for the straight headshot, but you've got to do it and not be seen, which is part of the challenge because the target's usually sort of with people because he's on a crowded boat party, basically. You can poison him, so you can actually find some rat poison hidden somewhere in one of the rooms on the yacht and slip it into a drink that he touches. You can. One of the most inventive ways that I took this guy out playing this first mission a couple of times is there's actually a life raft that's in a package up on top of the top level of the boat. If you get up there with a crowbar or a small sort of detonation charge, which you can set off remotely, you can actually explode the supports on the life raft and actually drop the package on his head and crush him. So if you pick your timing. So, but yeah, there's heaps that I haven't even tried yet. Apparently, you can actually somehow get him into a bathroom and drown him in a toilet. You can set off an electrical charge to sort of, basically kill him when he's trying to operate a computer. There are so many different ways you can do it. It's amazing the level of detail that they've put into this game. And this was just in the training mission. Like I've started looking at the missions after that, and you know how much more detailed and more complicated they get, and it's crazy. Like there's apparently the final sort of training mission is you're actually like in an aircraft hangar, and one of the ways you can kill the target on that one is that he actually gets into a fighter jet to inspect it, and you can actually make the ejection seat malfunction and basically splatter him on the top of the glass. So, yeah, it's great. It's really, really cool. Ollie, highly recommend. If you like those sort of
I
first...
will check it out.
Yeah, those
It's
first or third-person
PS4,
perspective
Xbox
ones.
One, and Windows.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just fact-checking everything today.
Yeah, it's good.
Yay.
Good job.
Yes, fact-checking is a thing this week. All the election debates and things, I think it's like the hot thing at the moment, checking everything, yeah. Hitman, awesome. I don't know if you ladies would enjoy it. You probably would to a certain extent. I think, Jam, you really liked Superhot as well, didn't you? So
I didn't play it heaps, but yeah.
I love Superhot.
you love Superhot? Well, maybe you'd get into it, because I think there's a lot of similarity in terms of the type
There's a line
of puzzles.
for me.
Yeah.
Superhot, great, because they're like white, disembodied, not real people, don't make real sounds.
Yeah.
When I'm drowning somebody in a toilet or squishing someone up against a window, then ethics start kicking in.
Yeah, well, you don't tend to
little bit.
see a lot of the gore or the sort of the fallout from what you do, because the whole idea is to sort of set things in motion and then get the hell out of there. So it's not really
maybe.
a gore fest. Yeah.
And if
yeah.
you're a really bad person, then probably.
Yeah.
We'll have to desensitize you before PAX.
I know, right? Like, sorry, guys. Sorry.
Yeah. No.
I just know with games like Hitman that that could be an instant turn off for me. But,
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean,
it sounds like a brilliant game.
it's purposely
everyone who
brutal
talks about
because
it
you
raves
are an
about it.
assassin. But yeah, no,
Yeah,
I get
of
what
course.
you're saying. Yeah. But I think at the moment it's much more puzzly than it is sort of, fight your way out of trouble. Like if you have to fight your way out of something, then you've usually made a big mistake and things go rapidly downhill. So
I'd be fighting all the time.
yeah.
I'm great at video games.
You're the best.
That's right. Anyone sort of facing you in a competition of video gaming goodness should be concerned, shouldn't they?
If that ever happened, yes.
Nice. I know that you're good at WoW at least, so you're still progressing through Legion.
am.
How's that going?
I am. This evening, I am now friends with all of the main factions in the Broken Isles and have access to world quests.
Nice.
And it's so overwhelming. Oh my God. But great and awesome. And when you hit cap on other expansions, there's some little bits and pieces you can do and like raiding and item leveling and things like that. But that doesn't really appeal to me. But completionist in terms of WoW sense and getting achievements really does. And so, the whole idea of like world quests, if I log in, this day, these 3 factions, you have to do 4 world quests with them and you get this item, like that hits all the right buttons for me. So I'm super excited to get stuck into that. I'm still progressing like order haul. I have about 7,000 million quests and it makes me really anxious because they're all over the place. So I just need to sort of buckle down and finish some areas, but
Pick some
really
stuff,
good.
yeah.
I'm loving World of Warcraft Legion. It is amazing.
I was just going to say, now that you've gotten to the point where you've unlocked World Quest, I'll just give you a very quick tip before we sort of move on. The Legion app, which we've all been really enjoying. One of the best things about the app when it comes to World Quests is you can actually look at the map and see what the rewards are for all of the World Quests on the map from your app. So you can selectively pinpoint the gear that you want to get and go after it, as opposed to having to navigate through the in-game maps, which are not quite as intuitive. So
So I can sit in my lunch break and figure out if I'm going to play Legion that evening, like what I'm going to be.
Yeah, exactly. Because the quests kind of cycle through every 24 hours, I think. So yeah, if you get a moment during the day and you're like, okay, cool, what sort of gear is on offer today? You can sort of just mosey around the map on your app and go, oh, wicked, that's a piece of gear that's going to up my item level considerably. I'll do that mission when I log on when I get home, sort of thing.
So clever, Blizzard. So clever.
It is good.
Oh, sucking me in again. No, it's good. Turns out the secret to not becoming unhealthily obsessed to World of Warcraft is to study at the same time.
Hashtag real life.
Success.
Yeah.
So we played a bit of Armello during the week with new characters. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, Magna's awesome.
Yep.
She-Wolf.
Pretty cool.
Big fighty She-Wolf. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm loving all of the new ones.
I have gone back over your win the other night and realised that I handed that to you twice.
Yes.
Twice, just because at the very beginning of the game, Jam and I decided that we were in a truce. Twice, I made the decision to kill Luke instead, and I was, in the end, the only character that could have taken her out with her massive amount of health. Especially that time I hit Luke with 8 health.
Yeah, that was pretty massive.
There you go, Jam. I was your flak jacket. You're welcome.
Yeah.
But the map had us going after quests in the same area for the first 3 or 4.
I did notice that.
It was nuts. We were just following each other around the map, so it was a very good truce. It's a very good truce.
Yeah, I feel like the Bear and Wolf clans in Armello have a little bit of a countering mechanic to them. I mean, all of between the different clans have countering, but yeah, I feel like I play Gruul, who is the Groot Kloss Hodor type bear, who turns into a tree when he's in the forest, and it's beautiful and delightful. But I think I got a hang of him now, so I'm going to have to try somebody else. So
yeah, that is a game that I still feel like I do not understand nearly as well as I should, even after many, many plays. So there's a huge amount of strategy that I've just not tapped into yet. Yeah, well, I mean,
that works for me.
Well, it's probably clear from the fact that I've gotten very, very few wins when we've played. But yeah, I don't know. I'll sink some more time in and get my head around it. I think part of it's just going to be playing some of the other characters. You know, who knows? Anyway,
don't challenge the Mimonaut, man.
I would actually like to play that game with Ollie and see how he does, because I know that you haven't played
Oliver.
a lot recently, but you've played Armello before, so I'd be keen to see how that went.
I'll need to remember how to play. I was like, these are certainly things.
Yeah. I definitely think it's a game that would not benefit from being rusty, sort of going back in again. But anyway. Yes. All right. Well, anyway, let's kick into some of the gaming news of the week, because there's been a little bit of stuff. Not a overwhelming amount at this time of year, because a lot of people are sort of perched on the edge of their seats waiting for some of the major game releases that we talked about last week. But there's been a bit of stuff. Bit of controversy to start things off with. So have you guys been following the weirdness around Palmer Luckey sort of getting involved in the media in not such a good way, and casting a bit of a shadow on the Oculus brand this week?
If you didn't say the word Oculus, I wouldn't know who he was.
No.
Only because his name is so very distinct. But it's been overwhelming what's going on over in the States, so...
Well, I mean,
not so much.
The thing is, too, technically, I mean, because he's sold Oculus to Facebook now, I mean, realistically, he's not as big a linchpin in that company as he once was. But, I mean, realistically, he's still got this image as being seen as like a young, kind of, big tech guy, like an inventor who's sort of, performed a significant role in bringing VR into, the public eye as it is at the moment. And, all these other companies sort of investing in it. And, he is the name that gets remembered when it comes to the early days of this whole movement starting in a big way. And so when any controversy surrounds him in particular, it's probably not a great thing not only for Oculus as a brand, but for the VR sort of, development movement in general, because it kind of is, it's not exactly a thriving industry right now. It's still this little germinating seed that kind of needs every bit of support it possibly can to grow. And stuff like this that, turns people off a particular person, and sometimes their company cannot be a real good thing at all. So
I don't think this particular instance will colour people towards VR generally. I see what you mean in regards to him, maybe, but not in regards to this particular latest piece of idiocy.
Maybe not. It's certainly impacted a few devs though. So I mean, the long and short of it, and we won't go into a huge amount of detail here because the realistic nature of this is that there's a lot of he said, she said sort of stuff going on. But there was a large pop culture media site which basically reported during the week that Palmer Luckey was involved with a group on Reddit that had basically been posting in an organised fashion sort of anti-Hillary Clinton sort of shitposting memes, essentially. So there's been a lot of sort of chat as to, how involved in this he actually has been, whether he's just the sort of money man behind this team of people or whether he's actually been posting things actively himself. And there's certainly been a bit of contradiction in terms of some of the things he's said to the media and things that he's posted himself on his Facebook page. But the long and short of it is that regardless of how accurate it is and regardless of which political factions are involved here, because, obviously there's a lot of, heat going on in the US at the moment with regards to the current political climate. The end result is that basically there's a lot of uncertainty around whether he's, looking as positive as he once did. Because if he's getting involved in supporting online trolls, then that's something that a lot of people aren't real happy with, regardless of the political sort of ties involved there. And some other companies that have been working on titles that are going to be releasing on Oculus have basically pulled their support as a result. And, in some cases it's been, we don't want to, work with a company that, has this guy involved at the top who's involved in this kind of activity. And some of them are basically just pulling the support and saying they're not going to publish on, the Rift until basically the issue's been resolved. And, being resolved could mean anything from, we have assurances that, he was acting in a particular manner or not, or that he has been removed from his position. So, yeah, the whole thing's really unfortunate. And, I think, there's a lot of sort of detail online about what's actually gone on and what's been said and what's been posted. There's public sort of posts on, Palmer's Facebook page, like I said before, and Oculus have released a statement as well. And you can kind of read and judge for yourself. But, it's not looking real good for Oculus. They've had a bit of a rough year and this doesn't help the situation, essentially. So that's basically what's going on with that. Any thoughts, guys? Is it kind of just this is something that we don't really want to be reading kind of situation, or
I think the bigger issue and wider issue is that this is about brand, and it's very unfortunate if Palmer Luckey is just at the top and, like you say, not as involved in Oculus, that his impact can be felt by a company the size of Oculus in a very important year, and that's either a big wake-up call or that needs to be made clearer by the brand, but we'll see what happens. Yeah. Unfortunately for Oculus, this by itself could have been fine because they could maybe distance themselves from it, but like you say, it's been a tough year, so
yeah.
Little Oculus.
You don't want to be drilling holes in your boat on its maiden voyage.
No, exactly, and that's a really good analogy, actually, Ollie. I think that you pretty much nailed it. So. He's been the kind of guy that they've, rolled out at big press events and, conventions to talk about VR in its burgeoning sort of state. I think we'll probably see now a lot less of that happening because he's not going to be quite the face possible. That they want. Yeah. So, all right, well, on to something a bit lighter, if you consider the horrors of war to be a lighter topic. Battlefield 1 trailer, there's a new one. New single-player campaign mode trailer, in fact. So now
it looks sweet.
It looks really good. Yeah.
So what's everyone's thoughts about the particulars of that trailer? So we didn't really get to see a whole bunch of story, but everything that was in that trailer was apparently in-game footage, like cinematic footage, as opposed to all strictly gameplay. But any particular things that stood out to your minds?
There's a lot of characters. It's not just one, like, I was like, oh, so he's the main character, and then there's like an actual cast of supporting characters. So I'm intrigued to see how they move the main character around the different war zones of World War One, because in that day and age, not super easy to travel around super fast.
Do we know if it's one protagonist?
We don't, but there is a recurring character. Yeah. So, and he's seen interacting with the various people. So
I think the most interesting thing for Battlefield 1 is that it seems to be playing on the idea, and I think I'm finding it interesting from a story perspective, because what it's doing is playing on the idea of that war was the first where machines played a big role, and there was a lot of arguments at the time that it was particularly bloody because it took the humanity out of it, and a lot of the trailer is about people coming face to face. And so not when they're just fighting in tanks and whatever else, but actually fighting face to face and looking somebody in the eye. So I think that's really interesting as a single player campaign to highlight, that kind of aspect of it, which is interesting for a video game to pull it back to that sort of humanity level. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm intrigued that this big shooter is telling us it's going to be character driven, that it's going to be stories about people. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's not just jump online and brag some noobs. It's, it's actually telling some of the story and hopefully being somewhat historically relevant, which is pretty interesting considering it's, a big anniversary for it this year. So.
The thing that really struck me watching the trailer was the precise facial detail in the footage, like the quality of the animation across the different characters facially. It was really good, like super realistic, and didn't break the immersion for me at all. Like I
no Uncanny Valley.
Yeah, no Uncanny Valley effect. I thought I was watching real people, for a good part of that, even though I knew in the back of my mind it wasn't. And that was awesome. That was really seriously good. So, and I could draw some links to some reasonably well-known actors facially, if not by name, that I'm sure I could sort of, do some hunting around online and sort of work out who's who. Whether they've actually got them in to do the mocap or not, I'm not sure, but they've at least modelled them off the faces of some known people out in there in the film industry. So, yeah, very, very cool. And we got some details of how we're actually going to get on and play the game and when. So what's going on with that, Ollie? You got the list?
We do. So we have, if you have EA Access and Origin Access, you get it on October 13th. But you only get it for 10 hours, and that includes menu time. So, yeah, you're going to be loading that up quite fast. You get 5 maps, and I'm going to mispronounce them and embarrass myself horribly, but they're St. Quentin Scar, the Amiens, the Sinai Desert, Foul Fortress, and Suez. And they'll have and they'll have 4 different modes: the usual Conquest, Rush, Operations, and Domination. And you'll also get 2 single-player campaign missions: Storm of Steel and Through Mud and Blood. Now, so that's if you have EA Access and Origin Access. If you get the Early Enlisted Deluxe Edition, you get it on October 18th, and the generic street date is October 21. So there are essentially 3 tiers of access, which is interesting.
Yeah. Don't know if I'm going to bother with the Origin or EA Early Access, I think. But I don't know. They did mention that some of the Early Access sort of progress will carry over to the main street release date, though. So
yeah. I will see how much difference the Early Enlisted Deluxe Edition is and like what cool stuff you get with it. And if it's worthwhile, because I do like my statues and my art book. So... I will see if that is worthwhile for me, and if not, I'll just wait for the street date because I want the cool video game.
Yeah, seems good. Well, another bit of controversy in the news this week has been surrounding Street Fighter V, which also has not had a real great year. So the release of this game has been probably one of the greatest tales of bed shitting that I've ever seen. So this is on the side of real bad, though. It seems that in a recent update that was released for Street Fighter V, the devs decided to crack down pretty heavily on cheaters and sort of, locking down some of the features in game to prevent some of the known exploits that people have been using to basically mess with the game. Unfortunately, one of the things that they did created a situation where it was triggering a lot of people's antivirus software, creating like a bit of a false positive situation. It was actually, writing, the update was writing a system file with Windows sort of kernel level access to the, to the operating system's System32 folder.
Don't do that.
No.
Don't do that.
That which, undoubtedly the virus protection software a lot of people would run would probably pick up on that. So, but yeah, people were really getting up in arms about how invasive that level of manipulation on the system was and, the potential for it opening up up big security concerns on people's PCs. So yeah, Capcom turned around later this week and released a further update which rolls back a whole bunch of that stuff. So, and they're basically apologising to fans and saying, yeah, we screwed up. So,
yeah, that's fair. That's entirely fair. And good on them for doing that and not just being like, nah, fuck you guys.
Yeah, well, if they did that, I don't think people would be playing the game very much anymore if they were seriously worried about the security.
It is a bit of a challenge for PC developers, though, in terms of, consoles can quite easily implement systems that will pick up cheats and adaptions and things that shouldn't be there. But for PC, you've got access to a lot more information and, people store a lot more things on their PC than they would necessarily on their Xbox or PlayStation. So it's an ongoing thing. I don't think anyone's got a great answer for it, but yeah, they maybe should have thought a little bit about that. A little bit harder before they did it. Yeah. But it still stands that generally it is an issue for PC developing. But
you'd think if it was
not
that
done right,
came
not
up,
done right.
Like when they test it on their own PCs, their own antivirus stuff will be like, oh, what's going on? They'll be like, oh yeah, we probably shouldn't do that, eh? So it just strikes me as a little odd.
They obviously would have tested it, but I don't know what they've missed here.
Yeah.
Or if maybe something's gone awry and it shouldn't have done. I don't know. We won't know. All we know is that they're sorry. So it means they didn't do the right thing.
Sorry, guys.
Well, it's a problem that's exacerbated on a game that is fairly competitive. I mean, people who play fighters, are known for being, a little on the tight side.
Well, also because Street Fighter tournaments are an actual big deal as well.
Absolutely. Yep.
That doesn't help matters.
Yeah, I mean, you think at a sanctioned event like that, they'd, have stronger security and checks in place for the systems that people are using. But, people still have to qualify for those events, and a lot of the structure that supports that is done on people's own PCs at home. So, there you go. So another cool thing that happened last weekend is the annual Minecon convention was on. So the Minecraft convention that is run for all fans of the game, which basically it's like a PAX level event for just Minecraft, and it's one of the only titles that you could say could easily pull that off. But yeah, pretty big thing. And of course, if you were going to see anything announced for the game, it would be at that event, and it was. So Mojang have announced that there's going to be a new Chinese mythology mashup pack coming out in early October on the 4th. So yeah, it's going to add a whole bunch of new features to the game that have been seen in the PC version already. So this is a console sort of focused update. It's going to be bringing some of the things in that we've seen for a little while, like polar bears in the snow biomes, the full sort of range of banners with the different art you can do.
Polar bears.
Yeah, beetroots as well, which can be crafted into soups with different properties. But the actual Chinese mythology mashup pack adds a whole bunch of new stuff. Like there's 41 new skins. There's a pre-created world based on sort of like Far Eastern lore. And yeah, it looks really, really cool. There's a few screenshots doing the round with your big sort of, constructed dragons and the really cool sort of trees, the Oriental style trees, the flora that, matches that kind of, temple aesthetic, the gardens of those sorts of setups. Really, really cool. So yeah, Minecraft fans will eat it up as they always do. It'll be a nice little release for them. We also had a big bit of content coming out from Riot this week. So, Riot, we mentioned recently, has been celebrating their 10-year anniversary. And, of course, they're one of the leading sort of brands when it comes to the esports scene. And they've got a fair bit invested in that. So they basically are attempting to fix some of the ongoing problems with esports at the moment. And a lot of them revolve around profitability and, how teams can actually afford to continue to play at a professional level without, having a good enough revenue stream to sort of keep them afloat. So some of the things that they've said they're going to do via the means of an open letter to its fans, they've basically planned to share some of the League of Legends esports revenue streams, partners with permanent stakes, could be a thing, which might actually suggest the end of promotion and relegation of those sorts of funds. They're going to restructure how their media distribution works and how their ad and sponsorship revenue sort of gets distributed, and some of that could take place by having in-game branded content for different teams, which is purchasable, and be able to share the revenue with the teams that sort of do that kind of thing. So yeah. Pretty cool. It looks like a long-term strategy where they're going to start to prop up the ongoing sort of money flow for some of these teams, make it more of an incentive for them to continue to invest in the game and do what they do. Because a lot of the high-profile esports teams are the ones that really do sort of keep the interest of the fans in the game and keep that kind of level of competitive play afloat. It's not like they're having teams of randoms coming out of nowhere and amassing the same sort of followers as some of the firmly established esports teams that have been around for a few years now. So you would expect that, like most competitive sports, you get quite a fan following that have their favourites and they follow those teams religiously, and just it becomes their thing. So helping those teams stay in the game is kind of important. There you go.
Agreed.
Yeah. An expansion of esports is inevitable, really.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's just getting more and more organised each year, starting to shed some of the trappings of, I guess esports puberty is kind of a way to look at it in a way. Yeah. Speaking of things growing up, Campo Santo, the games developer that was responsible for Firewatch, which we talked a bit about earlier in the year, super awesome game.
Good game.
Yeah, they're growing up a bit and they're getting into the movie business apparently. So what do you guys think about the idea of Firewatch becoming a movie? I mean, we all played a bit of that. Do you think it's
no spoilers.
Suitable? Yeah, well, without spoiling it,
I think it's perfectly suitable.
Yeah.
I think that it's an interesting perspective. I mean, that's why I enjoyed playing the game, because it was incredibly narrative without needing a lot of interest. It'll be interesting to see what perspective they use for the movie, if they're going to go full Blair Witch cam, shaky cam, or how it's going to come out. But no, I'm fascinated.
I don't think they'll go first person. They'll keep
Oh no, surely not. It would be incredibly bizarre for them to do that, but it would, you never know. These guys are, some of the greatest minds behind some of the Telltale reimaginings and things like that. So they know how to create a story and weave it and think of new ways to present it to people. So yeah.
I'm
the story
cautiously
itself,
optimistic.
The story itself, I just loved. It was so exciting and sad and scary and all these different things all at once without actually doing very much. And so if they can make a game where I can feel that way, then surely they can make a very good movie.
If they don't use the voice actor
Rich Summer?
Yeah. I will be very surprised, and if they don't, it's a dumb move, and they should.
I would be super disappointed if they did not get him to play the role. I would be very, very disappointed. He is perfect for it, not just in the voice sense, but he could definitely carry that role for sure. He's got the look that I would associate with the character of Henry.
Even both voice actors were great. So, just considering one is essentially a disembodied voice, that's fine.
Yeah.
You just need a voice actor for that. You don't need a famous actor or whatever. Just use that exact same person. You
sort of wonder whether they would do that in the same way, though. I mean, if they were actually going to make a movie, would they show scenes from Delilah's cabin, for instance, from her perspective? I would imagine they'd shift perspectives if they were going to do a feature film.
I hope not, because I think that the magic of the game was the solo perspective. Is trying to figure out. It added to the idea that he's in the woods and he doesn't speak to or see other people. That was kind of the main.
That's the important part. He doesn't see them.
Yeah.
Well, they could do a super good job on this film with a very low budget. I mean, you think about what they'd have to spend money on. It would be, the cast is not exactly big at all. You film it out in nature essentially. The set design would be limited to just a few elements. It wouldn't be a huge amount of stuff they have to build. Yeah, and I mean, most of the appeal is kind of the story and the dialogue, which is fantastic. So, I mean, the only other concern I've got is if they actually did do a movie of Firewatch and mirror the game essentially, beat for beat. If you've played the game, you probably, you knowing the story already, the movie would have a very limited appeal, I think. But I don't know, you probably
that's
still
like
see
anything that's started as something else and become a movie or TV show.
Correct, and I think the movie. If it was afterwards would be relevant, but then for me that makes me sad because that means they're not making a Firewatch next, which I would like to see whether it's the same characters or different.
Yeah.
a similar kind of situation, then, we'll see.
See what happens with it.
All
Yeah.
speculation. But just exciting.
Well, I mean,
very interesting and bizarre news. Yeah.
if Campo Santo...
If they scout the locations well, you can have a stunningly gorgeous artistic film as visually as first a sole person starring, and that fantastic dialogue just complements that so well. I think it'd be beautiful.
Yeah.
There's been an awful lot of movies lately where you don't see a lot of other people. The focus of the movie is on one person, and so I think people are ready to see more of this sort of art style, which used to traditionally be, inverted commas, a bit more arty. I think it would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
Gravity's an excellent example.
I've not seen it.
Well, Campo Santo have also said that they might look at doing other films after Firewatch 2. So whether they'd be things that are just movies on their own, or whether they're other games titles that they're looking at working on and then maybe adapting at the same time, we'll wait and see. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool for a game studio that focuses on narrative to branch out and do that kind of thing. Maybe they'll, with that kind of skill set, they'll be able to do some more games with full motion video involved and actually, film the stuff properly live. So yeah. We'll wait and see. So cool. All right, well, that's a bit of stuff going on this week. Let's kick into our topic for tonight. And we thought it would be a fantastic opportunity, given Imogen's fantastic news during the week and all the Omegathon sort of hype and, PAX hype in general. Now, we've kind of long ruminated about the concept of what would make a good competition of that nature. So, if we were going to build a competitive, let's call it a gameathon, so, whether it's a Megathon or another sort of similar format or not, how would we actually build it, and what sort of games would we actually consider to be suitable for that sort of thing? So, and this is, we're talking about competitive gaming here, but it's different to what we would consider general esports, because, esports are generally games that are set up and created in order to be hyper competitive from the get-go. So, League of Legends is a game that can be played competitively because of the way it's built. Overwatch, again, very similar. A lot of first-person shooters are kind of just, almost designed with that level of competition in mind. But if we were going to run like a gameathon where you're playing several different rounds of different games and you're sort of going for variety and testing a whole bunch of different game skills, what sort of stuff would we look at is kind of the discussion. So now there was a series that Rooster Teeth did, over the last few years too, which I don't know if you guys saw. It was called The Gauntlet. Did anyone watch that?
I've not seen that, no.
Yeah. So it's essentially the same kind of thing. So they do a series of different rounds with various different gaming challenges. Now, if I'm trying to remember correctly, unlike the Omegathon, they don't actually knock too many people out until late in the game. So it tends to be like a lot of point scoring to gain advantage and then final eliminations right towards the end of it. But it's generally the same sort of concept. Like they use a whole bunch of reasonably well-known games that test people in different ways. So yeah. So let's chat about it. Let's build a bit of a model for what we think would make a good sort of lineup for a competition like this. And we're actually going to be able to use this as a bit of a training regime for Imogen. So what kinds of things do we think you should prep for, essentially? What kinds of games and genres in general do we think should be represented in a competition of that nature? Let's start there. So,
okay, I'll start off. You need to have a racing game of some description.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Whether it is old school classic like Mario Kart or like Need for Speed or the latest Forza, because it's in Australia, mate.
Australia.
Well, let's not finish off that sentence. And then you need to have some form of racing, so you can get rankings for the different races. You can have a clear winner, clear loser, that sort of thing.
Time trial.
Yep, time trials are great, but you got to. I'd almost say you want them to be everyone can be on in the same time or in pools rather than individual people racing.
It would be more entertaining. Especially
otherwise
if they could
it's not funny.
Well, logistically too, I mean, if you've got people doing individual time trials too, it's going to take a hell of a lot longer to get a large number of people through that process.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, you could have brackets. You could group people together and say you two play, you two play, you two play, and then move on kind of thing. That'd be interesting, but it'd be fairly brutal for those who don't make it through that first round. But
yep, agreed.
Yeah, I agree. Racing games for sure.
So what's current in racing? Like, what would we think would be a good pick in 2016 to be like the racing game that we would put? Forza? Yeah. Forza
Horizon.
Would you
theme,
put
Jamie.
current
I'm sensing
games,
a theme.
I mean, majority of
It's
these
set
things
in Australia. It's gorgeous. And
it's new.
you could probably race, it looks like you could race different types of vehicles. So they could have you like maybe have 3 races with rotating vehicle types and then average out your time and rank you or something like that. I don't know. I don't know. It's just an exciting thought.
Yeah. I don't disagree. I think that's probably a good pick. I think as well
I like
another...
keeping it simple. Same vehicles. Everyone's on their even playing field and a lot more.
And do that, yeah. I think another good pick based off what we've been discussing earlier tonight, in fact, would actually be some of the new GTA Online racing tracks.
They would be fun. You could design one especially.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yep.
I could see that or Mario Kart to be my picks.
The thing, yeah.
To
Mario
include
Kart's
a
always
racing
a
one.
good
I'd be like
winner.
Mario Kart,
Yeah.
because it's a classic. It's a classic.
I mean,
And you can have it on the latest console as well, so you don't necessarily have to play it on an older console.
Baby Park, best Mario Kart level ever.
Well, I tend to think because Mario Kart is such a classic, it's almost the one that you don't want to have because it's too obvious.
well, are you trying to trick people or are you trying to find the best gamer?
I don't think you're necessarily trying to trick people, but you don't necessarily want to make it the default pick for the genre. I think you probably want to pick something that is, maybe a slight outside chance as opposed to this is the best game you could possibly have to demonstrate
All
this
right,
genre.
I'm gonna throw something
Imagine
in
all
there
the
then.
blue
Maybe
shell
it should-
rage. Sorry.
That would be the worst. You could do like a Mario Kart-esque, but like a different...
Like a variation.
Use your words.
There's a game on PlayStation 2 that I used to play, which is Muppet Crazy Races or something like that, Matic Races or something like that, which is effectively Mario Kart but with the Muppets.
Yeah.
And something like that, I think, would be a cool way to do similar kind of thing, like very, very similar kind of thing, like wacky tracks, and there's like a Rainbow Road-esque thing and all those types of things.
That's sort of a good one.
Hilarious Muppet cars and people, like Rat is in a cheese.
I can see that.
Burnout Paradise.
Oh, yeah.
Burnout Paradise, yes.
That's a great suggestion.
If we put Burnout in there, I'd be so happy. Burnout
I
Champion.
think a little one like Wrecked too, which is where you sort of have you drop off screen, you get kicked, you
I know the one you're talking
point.
about. Yeah.
Yeah, and you've got weapons on the track and that sort of thing.
Yeah, a
It's more
game like that I could
top-down
definitely
thing.
see. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that game? Yeah, so I'm sorry, I've gone past racing games. I'll save it.
Okay, what's the next genre, Imogen?
Well, platformers.
Yeah.
Has to be.
Has to be Ori and the Blind Forest then. So
Yeah.
finish the fucking game.
That would be my freaking nightmare. Yeah, that would be, they make me do that. They'd
be like, okay, we picked a
a
specific spot of Ori, and Imogen just starts crying.
Well, I actually don't think they would pick Ori for the simple reason
they
that that
definitely
game
They won't.
morphs
Well,
so
definitely
much
not.
as you get the abilities throughout the game. So,
No, they definitely wouldn't. It's for the sake of humour.
It doesn't have levels. It's not
Too complex.
Doesn't work on a score basis.
yeah.
I
don't know
imagine
how
something
you get
like Sonic or Mario for that sort of thing.
Well, Mario
you
Maker is
consider-
kind of the default pick to morph into whatever kind of platform level
Yeah.
you want. And,
True.
yeah.
Would you consider Move or Die a platformer?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was
No,
gonna
see,
say
I
one.
put that more under party game. I put that under party game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Platformer / party game?
It's still a
Yeah, I put
platformer
it under
though.
party game. No, you're right, but they're definitely their own genre.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or that probably the one I was thinking was you're all the superheroes and you got to race to the screen, and if you drop off the screen, you're out.
Oh, Speedrunner?
I think it's Speedrunner. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be a cool one.
Or you mean almost like a non-cooperative version of Cloudberry Kingdom sort of thing, like where you kind of chasing each other's
Cloudberry
shadows.
Kingdom.
That would be bad.
Can't really compete though on that one.
Well,
No,
we
speedrunners
know
I
a
could
lot of
definitely see.
platformers. So what other platformers would actually fit? The mold.
Speedrunners.
Speedrunners, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is literally
that would be-
perfect for it.
Or something where you've just got a collectible along the way. Hey, what about the unicorn one?
Oh, fucking
No, the robot.
Robot unicorn.
Robot unicorn.
Oh yeah.
Gosh.
Interesting.
I hope
Robot
not.
Unicorn attack for the win,
Yes.
and you had that
Yes.
amazing song just blaring out.
Oh, the Nyan Cat theme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rainbows everywhere. So many rainbows.
That would be ridiculous. Yeah. All right. Cool. So Robot Unicorn Attack. Let's put that on the list of things you need to practice, Imogen. Yep.
And it's only 2 buttons. It's only 2 buttons.
I can do that. I can do 2 buttons.
Yep.
Can you? It's 2 buttons and timing.
Oh no.
I'm copping a lot of smack for this episode.
We're building up your resilience. Ready
I'm
for
feeling a
trash
lot of
talking
shade.
next
I'm
week.
That's it.
feeling a lot of shade.
No, you've started training already.
Okay, I see.
Better to get
Mentally
bruised now
preparing
during the
you.
event itself. That's what we think. So, yeah. All right. Well, what other genres could we tap into? What about, we've talked about Street Fighter briefly earlier tonight. What about a
Yep.
fighting game of some sort?
100%.
Oh,
Yep.
I tell you what, if
A 1v1
Soulblade,
fighter.
Soulblade.
Well, hang on, do you actually think that a fighting game would be suitable for most regular rounds of a competitive gameathon? Because a lot of the fighting games are 1v1 and wouldn't necessarily be well suited to eliminating,
I could
groups of
see it in
people.
the later rounds,
Yeah.
not the earlier rounds.
Yeah. I
When
mean,
you have
definitely
a
a final
smaller
round
pool.
type thing. It could,
Yeah.
yeah.
Super Smash Brothers, something like that, maybe. Is a
Oh,
fighting
yeah,
one.
Super Smash Bros. Works very
Or
well.
something, again, like
Um,
something move or die kind of falls into that sort of category where it's
Yeah.
everyone against everyone.
Yeah.
Well, seeing as we're stuck on Move or Die, shall we just mention the party games category?
Yeah,
so this
let's
is
get into
our
that.
Move or Die, this is our Castle Crashers, our Battle Block
Overcooked.
Theatre,
Overcooked.
Overcooked,
Overcooked.
what was the other one I was going to say? Towerfall Ascension.
What about Mount
So
Your
all
Friends?
those sort of games. Yep, Mount Your Friends.
Yes,
Oh,
that was going
those
to be one of
style
mine.
Gosh, I'm so
Good.
bad at that game.
I want Mount Your Friends to be the finale.
That would be
Fitting
so great to
loincloth.
watch. Yeah, that would be so great to watch.
And those desperate last minute flings through the air.
Fling yourself. Fling of faith.
So good.
Flick of Faith.
Yeah, that game is
Sounds
a
like my
lot of
Friday
fun.
nights.
Yeah, all right. I mean, so there's been a lot of those games that
Also,
have been in
IRL
high profile
games.
this year. What's that?
I think
IRL
IRL
games.
games, like
I mean,
Tabletop.
games?
tabletop games. So
Yes.
Operation
Oh,
has
what was
been
that?
one at Megathons before. Kaplunk has been one before.
What's the
Jenga.
holding the wand one? Joust.
Oh, so
Oh, yes.
Sebastian
That's a
Johann's Joust?
Great idea.
I can
That
see
would be
Joust being a thing.
amazing, especially like on the bigger rounds where you've still got like lots of people. You could have like 4 rounds of 4.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Creates a
I
visual
like that
spectacle as
idea.
well. It's a really good one for an audience to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
I'm a Megathon runners.
Yeah. Now that would be good. That would also be a really good format game to eliminate X number of people too. Like if they wanted to run it at one of the earlier rounds, you can have quite a few people involved in one joust, and just say the first X number of people eliminated are the ones that don't move through to the next round, sort of thing. So you don't have to just have one winner. You could literally set a number. So, I mean, assuming that a lot of people who are listening to our show maybe aren't familiar with this game, Ollie, how does it work? What's the basic mechanics of Sebastian Johann's Joust?
So this is every player has a wand which has motion sensors in it.
Yeah. So the
And the
PlayStation
aim-
Move controller, essentially. Yeah.
Yes, or any sort of control that relies on that sort of thing. And the aim of the game is to get your opponent to move to a threshold, essentially, which sets off the controller. And you have to keep yours nice and stable whilst making the enemy ones move. So you're trying to keep yours safe and stable whilst trying to make theirs unsafe and unstable and make them move around lots. So it sets off the controller. Did I get that right, or am I thinking a different one?
No, that's pretty much it.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yep.
You have to match the rhythm of the music. If the music speeds up, you're able to move your controller around faster so that you can start sort of walking quickly and circling your opponents. And then
I
as
didn't
the
know that
music slows down, you have to slow your controller down. And if it stops, you have to hold it as motionless as possible. So you're trying to hold it motionless with one hand and flail at the nearest person with your other to make them move theirs without moving yours.
Yeah.
I sucked.
I mean,
I sucked so hard.
some parts of the game look a little bit like a, almost like an egg and spoon race in a way. 'Cause you're trying not to drop or move the thing that you're holding. But now, Jamie, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't there an element as well where the sort of the playing field that you're on, like the big, think of it almost like a twister mat. Aren't there some spots where you actually need to end your movement when the music stops or something like that?
That's a voluntary thing that they did just on the carpet in front of the screen.
Right.
So they had this big carpeted area that was cordoned off that people would line up around, and they just put marking tape in little blobs and squares on the ground. When everything was getting a bit too routine and people were maybe getting a little bored, they said, okay, switching it up, we're playing islands, something like that. And you had to finish your turn in an island, otherwise, or like when you came to a standstill, otherwise you were automatically eliminated. So that was just an optional
thing.
self-imposed
Because they had
thing.
to, otherwise some people were in there for ages. Some people are very, very good at this game. I will clarify, if you are interested in getting this, it's part of a game called Sports Friends, and it's actually one of 4 games on the available on PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and Windows, so it is not available on Xbox. I do believe it relies heavily on the PlayStation Move controllers, because part of it is the light up part and the flashing on the actual controller itself.
It's supported up to 7 players.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So you do need some space with that many people.
Hmm.
It was so good to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you're clearing out a room for your VR setup, then you're all set. You've got a VR room and a joust room. You're all set.
I could see them using a VR game of some description as well, a bullet dodge one or something.
Honking into each other. Boom.
Yeah. No, that'd be cool. I was just thinking for a second, would Super Hot VR be suitable? But that's not really the kind of game you could use for a contest of this nature, is it?
No, you can, because you can go by time or anything like that, because the game does record that.
It does, yeah.
So you can actually do it as a speedrun thing, but I don't necessarily see that being useful.
Yeah, probably not one of the top picks anyway.
No.
Do you think they'd have a rhythm game?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Well, Geometry
Guitar
Wars is
Hero,
always... Yeah,
Dance
Guitar
Dance.
Hero...
Geometry Wars is super popular for them.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's a great format and it's got a clear score, so it makes sense.
Crypt of the Necrodancer.
Oh,
You just
Yeah.
want that to be a thing.
Would it be a multiplayer suitable challenge
I
game?
don't know.
no,
There is,
no, I don't think so.
no, there are settings that appear to be that might support a multiplayer scenario, or not multiplayer, but like a time trial or score scenario that you could rank people with that I haven't played. So it's possible.
I could
That'd be
definitely
so cool.
see them trying something, and I know that this, obviously in terms of the Omegathon, I know that Jerry Hawkins is a huge fan of Dub Wars, which we talked about on the show recently. Having just tried that for a brief period, that he and Mike Krahulik were just going googly-eyed all over it. But that's a game that I think you probably need to have a whole bunch of people on separate screens, trying to stay in for as long as possible, and it's almost like a survival kind of rhythm game, as opposed to them competing together on the same game.
But it could definitely be a later rounds thing as well.
Yeah, possibly.
Because
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
everything
games
needs to be 20 players play at once.
True.
Yeah, the games, they just need to be time conscious and be ropeable. So be in a format where they're not going to blow out to be, 40 minutes longer than they're expecting it to take, and those types of things, I suspect.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that if I was going to organise something, I wouldn't want to have a risk of time when they've got other things coming into different theatres and places people have to be. So.
Definitely.
What about puzzle games?
Puzzle games? Is a puzzle game suitable for that kind of format, though, given that sometimes puzzle games you require a bit more time to sort of work them out?
Would you call Tetris the puzzle game or Dr. Mario?
Yeah, because Tetris and Dr. Mario have been in there before.
Yeah.
That was the finale.
It would have to be stuff like you could either base it off time or if you could complete the level. Essentially, and you'd have to do the levels in ascending difficulty.
I actually consider Tetris to be more of a dexterity game than a puzzle game in a lot of ways, because it's kind of about your reaction speeds, not necessarily sort of... it is a puzzle, I guess, but yeah, I guess your skill is a lot more about how quickly you can position things as opposed to...
That's
Well, how
puzzle
quickly
solving.
you can figure out the
But
puzzles.
it's also
Yeah.
planning ahead and constructing
Yeah.
the blocks in a
You can have the
certain
best
way. Like there's
reflexes in
still
the world
puzzle
and
elements.
still fail that game.
True. Yeah, I guess it's a bit of both. Yeah. So I guess puzzle games that force you to think quickly would be a good one to have on that format. So what other stuff do we know that fits that mould?
World of Goo.
World of Goo? Yeah. Could be interesting.
Can't think of anything.
I can't think of anything else.
Yeah.
Portal,
turn
maybe?
Portal, yeah. Portal into a competitive.
Essentially.
Hmm.
All I got.
I don't
Jenga, because they've done it.
know. Yeah.
Well, I think you do start to get into
Tabletop
that
puzzle.
board game territory a bit more when you're talking about, puzzles and being under pressure in a group.
Yeah.
It's definitely a
And we
few
haven't
of those.
said shooter.
Yeah.
Shooter's like the obvious.
Yeah.
Well, it just had
should always be a
GoldenEye
first
as the finale at one of the PAXs
South.
recently. Yeah.
Yeah.
South. So it's a good classic.
Yep. And you could have stuff like Halo 3 and all sorts of COD. Like, you could have
Imagine
any shooter,
If they forge
basically.
mapped like a PAX level in the new Halo, that'd be
That'd be
cool.
That would be cool.
Sounds like a lot of effort, but that'd
Giant
be
epic. Well, come on, they've got staff who would do that for free.
Hmm.
Well, staff, fans, staff wouldn't do it
Fans.
for free. Staff would theoretically be paid to do it, but you know what I mean.
Well, if you're running a big event too, there's always a possibility that there could be some sort of sponsorship deal where a company wants to get a new title in the spotlight. And given that we've got some pretty high-profile shooters coming out later this year, some of the possibilities could be things like Gears 4, which I know they recently did. Penny Arcade did the Gears for the Watch event. They could probably have Battlefield 1 as well, as like a bit of an arena type thing.
I don't see any of so not just a Megathon, but other sort of competitions, and I watch a lot of the Extra Life streams and things like that. They tend to go back to older, obscure games. Like, they don't tend to be choosing, but they could quite easily put Overwatch in there, but I don't know that I see that happening.
I can't see Overwatch in there.
No.
Probably a bit too obvious.
I kind of feel like that they put in the cult classics and the fun ones, so because people want to see it, because that draws the crowd. Because
especially if esports
I remember
saturated
that game from, Yeah, I watched a video today about Beautiful Katamari, and I can't believe I didn't know what this game was. It's amazing.
It is brilliant.
I want to play it so much.
Well, I think part of the reasoning behind that might be that it effectively levels the playing field, somewhat, and prevents it from being a situation of, whoever plays the latest and greatest being most prepared.
And it stops people from being overwhelmed with the same game. If it's all over the news, like recent gaming news, if it's all over the esports scene, there's enough of that to watch already.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's fun to we say there's a lot. Mash that nostalgia button. Because I think that's the fun bit. Like, as well, a lot of the stuff that you see online, it's like, oh, everyone remembers this game. And some of them are only popular because they were, so groaningly awful or simple or incredibly difficult, like, something like GoldenEye and things. That they ended up using for South. Yeah, Pitfall, all sorts of games. And they're the ones that we remember. And so they do a really good job generally, not just talking about the Megathon, and these types of things of sort of digging out that one where you go, I remember that game, and you just wouldn't have thought of it. And I think that's it, because in the end, these are all shows. They're all there for an audience.
Yeah.
Not just for idiots like me to compete. And also they're choosing people randomly. So I think the point about, you could randomly choose someone whose life it is to play FPSs, and that does put it.
And then they play Jenga and fail horribly.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good leveler for sure.
Yeah, it's a test of the people and their adaptability.
Oh my God, Connect 4. Connect
No,
4.
that would be the
They've done it
worst.
before.
Have they?
They've done it before. They did a
Giant Connect 4,
Giant Connect 4 1 year. Yep.
But that's
That
a
makes me
game you
happy.
can math to death. Like, it's one of those things. I mean, it's almost like the noughts and crosses problem where if you go first and you know the game well enough, you can literally not lose.
Yeah,
So-
but Connect 4, you can have a variable-sized field, so you can at least make it a bit different. But
Also, do
I agree
not
with you.
doubt the stress and pressure of your brain turning to mush when you're standing on stage in front of thousands of people at the closing ceremony. Sorry, Imogen.
Yeah, it's not me.
That's a whole new element to add to the equation.
Yeah, they've even had like the mechanical claw machine.
Yeah, the skill tester.
Finale. Yeah.
Yep.
They call it the
Doing your
Mega 4.
research.
Oh, I also saw. I was doing a little bit of research today. The skee ball machine. Oh, I'm so good at those. I'm so good at
Humble
those.
brag.
Humble brag. Oh, you guys get to humble brag all the time, so you can show your faces.
Yeah. Seconded.
All right, well, let's move the conversation towards a final round sort of situation. So, these are obviously the high-profile games, the ones that would make a really good final showdown. Doesn't necessarily have to be any one particular genre. What do we think would be an awesome final pick for a challenge like this, and what would we maybe like to see at PAX this year as the final round for the Omegathon? And, we want to have something that could create a visual spectacle in front of a large crowd. Like, what would be suitable?
Overcooked.
Mount Your Friends, Overcooked, yeah. Oh, would Overcooked work given the cooperative
Yes,
nature?
it's got a versus mode. It's got a versus mode. And it would
Where you
be
control
epic.
2 characters.
Okay,
It's epic.
interesting. Ollie, what would you pick as...
I have literally no idea. I have no idea. I'm racking my brain.
Well, here's my suggestion. What I would love to see is, do you guys remember the board game that you may have played as a kid, Operation?
Yes.
Yep.
where you have to try and pick the sort of organs and bits of stuff out of someone's chest and not touch the sides and make the thing buzz. I would love to see a VR version of that. So, yeah.
Like a surgeon simulator operation.
Yes, exactly like that. And that played as the final round. That would be amazing.
VR operation.
I got my pick.
Wow.
Yeah.
Air hockey.
Go for it.
Air hockey?
Ooh, that's a good one. Can we make it the
choice.
one where it drops all of, like, halfway through? There's one where it drops, like, a million little pucks onto the thing.
What crazy LSD air hockey have you been playing?
You play air hockey, and when you get to, if it's like a certain minute and it's too close in scores, it'll drop all of these like tinier little pucks, and you just go mental.
What universe are you in?
And you get two.
Never
Are
heard
you
of
talking
that.
about a digital version or
No.
a real life?
I'm talking real life version. I want to see some guys fling a puck into the crowd because they overheat it too much.
Oh dear.
I think a
Yeah, I
digital
do like
version
the
might be
final
better.
round.
Yeah.
I
Wait,
like
because
the
that's
final
called
round when
Pong.
it's difficult, though. I like the final
a
round.
digital
Like,
version. I mean,
yeah.
you could even do it as a VR thing these days. But, a digital version I think might be better because then you immediately take the physical advantages that people might have out of the equation. Like if you've got, someone who's, meek and maybe not particularly tall and, standing behind an air hockey table versus someone who looks like the, college quarterback, then I think it actually does create a bit of an imbalance in terms of how hard and fast they can hit that puck across the table. So
Just use an American sports reference.
I did. Hashtag sports.
That was a bit weird. Sports ball. But I like the idea of a physical element to it, or a real life challenge for the last one, because you've got it traditionally. Again, going back to this is just the Omegathon. They're in the big theatre. It's the last event for the whole show. It's got a captive audience, and we saw, what was the one we saw at end of PAX Oz last year? That tank one.
Combat. Yep.
And that was kind of cool. But there was definitely a point at which everyone went, "Is this going to go forever?"
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
What's
I missed
happening?
that one.
So I like the reveals that they have over in the States where it's some big, the Claw one was classic. Although I will say the GoldenEye one was pretty cool, but it's because it was GoldenEye. So it would either have to be something physical would be the coolest. I would be so excited for whoever is doing it because it will not be me.
What about this is a final round challenge idea? What about a custom map of Slitherio?
Boo.
Yeah.
Don't like it.
Don't like it?
No. I think the best thing they could have done in a custom map setting was they did it for a PAX last year, and I can't remember which one it is. They did a Mario Maker level.
Yeah.
And they made it, the Mario Maker level was made by the people who make the game, I believe. And they made a specific one for PAX. So you went into the queue room and you went into the, whatever. And yeah, there was a point where everyone thought there was definitely not going to be a winner for that one as well. So
Having played it, it's not actually a hard level.
oh, you played it. That's so cool.
Yeah, but when you're on a stage under pressure in front of thousands and thousands of people, it's a little different to being in your living room. Yeah.
And the people on the stage at the end, they're being streamed on Twitch as well, and you're made very keenly aware that you're being watched. So there would be an element of that. I mean, and pressure because you're going to win. You're going to win the huge prize. So it's very exciting.
I don't know, I think my upbringing in my sports background has probably helped that a lot.
That's true. I think if you've got a competitive edge, if you're used to sort of competing, or especially I know that a couple of them are sort of seasoned competitors, maybe in video games, maybe anything sort of competitive. If you're sort of used to that, which is why I think that I'm resigning myself not to making it that far, because even though the games might be great, I'm just not. I don't have that competitive edge.
It's loser
I'm
talk.
excited.
We'll beat it into you.
I'll tell you what. Even if I don't have to be there, I will be there for everybody else. I'll be the most excited supporter on the side with a big fat X over my face.
All right. Well, let's live in a world for a second where you are actually super confident and are going to do the very best to be the best there ever was, and smash every obstacle in your path.
The song stuck in my head.
Yep.
Yeah.
What is your prep plan going to look like? How are you actually going to get ready for this event?
Okay, so ask you guys what I should do. I already have a list that we compiled. We had a bit of a chat last night.
Checking it twice.
Yeah, so I've got a list of sort of 5 or so games that I want to check out regardless. I do know that they give us some games at some point, so when that list comes out, I will probably try and grab as many of those as I can.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll also try and hit some people up for some different controllers. So I've got plenty of Xbox controllers here, but I do not have PS4. I have a PlayStation 3 controller, so I can try and get some things on my PS3.
Yep. Well, that's virtually the same as the DualShock 4, apart from the light bar at the front, so you'll be fine
Correct.
with that. Yep.
Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking. I've got on my old Nintendo controllers, I just don't have an N64 controller.
Mm-hmm.
So I might hit up some friends who have a Wii or similar to do that. So mostly my prep will be not so much time in games as it is concentrating on controller preparation.
Do you want us to come over when you practice and just yell at you?
Yeah,
while
no,
you play
definitely.
games?
Yeah,
That'd
and
be
cheer. I'll be
No, just yell.
cheering.
Just yell.
No.
Well,
No.
the benefit for me in my prep plan is that I can just, now this is more of an excuse to hang out with you guys.
Yeah.
And play games, because you're some of the people who are the best
I
at
get to
games.
yell at people. Yay!
Yay! Your favourite. You're welcome. Happy birthday, Ollie. I give you the gift of yelling at me and telling me I'm useless.
Stop being shit!
Stop being so, why are you so crap at this? Throwing things against the walls in my apartment. I'm just super excited. And nervous. Nervous is definitely part of it because you still have to sit up, and a lot of the times in the first round you sit up in a chair by yourself in a room in front of an audience and play a game. And for me, that's the part that's scary, really.
Mm-hmm.
I could stand up and talk to those people quite comfortably and give them, have a chat, rile up the audience and do all of that. That's my job. That's what I do.
Okay, I'm very loud. I will be yelling pointers. You'll hear them.
Okay.
And you'll be like, cool, thanks, Jam, I got it.
Yeah. I'm also looking forward to them yelling out my gamer tag and there being a solid WA presence there. That would be sweet.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I will get a Vuvuzela.
I'm incredibly lucky and very excited.
That can be your theme. Or an air horn.
Thanks.
Oh, yes. I'd invest in an air horn for that.
I'll park an ice cream truck
Let's all
nearby
have
and play
kazoos.
green sleeves for you. That's my commitment.
Get the quarters and play Three Blind Mice. With your noses, of course.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
The really bad 20th Century Fox theme.
Yeah, the giraffe.
That's Jurassic Park.
Oh my God, guys, we need to train too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I getcha.
You
All right.
guys
Well,
need to
anyway,
train
sounds like a
during-
pretty solid prep plan to me. We've got a decent amount of time before this all sort of shakes out. So you're gonna be able to put some work in once you get the list and see how you're gonna go.
hopefully. My poor assignment that's due in 2 weeks and my exam in 3, but after that, then yes.
It's all about priorities.
Solid
Yeah.
10 days of preparation.
That's it. You'd be fine. You'd be more prepared than Donald Trump was at his debate. There you go.
Oh, what is
Hashtag
with
relevance.
you and the politics today in America?
No,
Is
I
it good
know.
for America already,
He's getting
dude?
very bored at home.
That's right. Anyway, so if anyone else has any suggestions of what Imogen should do to prepare for becoming the Omegagen or the Mimonaut or whatever you want to call her,
Mimonaut.
yeah, send it in via email because you can hit us up at mail@partyloader.com. We would also love to hear your suggestions on the social media platforms of choice. So facebook.com/partyloaded and we are on Twitter @partyloadedshow. Let us know what you think would be a great final round and what sort of stuff she needs to do to prep. And I think we're going to probably have a bit of an ongoing commentary for the next few episodes on how this is all progressing without giving too much of the game away to people who might be potentially your competitors. So,
Yeah, Mimonaut log, star date, 12.
yeah.
Still shit. No, but seriously, if anyone is coming along to PAX as well, and I'm sure we'll reiterate this beforehand, but we'll all be there. We would love to see you I'd love to see you in the Omeganaut rounds. Come and cheer on me.
It is dead certain to be the one place where you can find us at the very first
Yeah, you
round at
can.
least.
Yeah, and the quiz. The
That's
quiz
right.
on the Wednesday night.
Yeah. We'll be hitting up the Child's Play charity quiz, which is going to be held in Melbourne the Wednesday before PAX Australia. And I believe the event now, maybe with the exception of one or two tickets, is sold out, hasn't it? So
Yeah, there's only 2
That's
tickets
fast.
left, and they're not sure if those are just waiting on someone to pick them up or whether they're actually free, but it sounds like it's going to be sold out. So if you're going, we'll see you there. Hopefully we'll do better than I will in the Omegathon.
Man, I could feel the confidence oozing through the Skype line.
Jesus.
Just to psych out the competition, I'm going to be great.
Yep. So, Ollie, the first thing we've got to work on with her is the whole mind over matter thing. So we'll have to
I'll
strategize.
just get some baseballs and start throwing it at her.
Yep.
The
I'm
first thing
going to
you
go
have to
with
do
the
is
wrenches.
quarantine these
If
two.
you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a competitor. That's how you go.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
Dodge, duck, dive, and dodge.
That's it. All right, well, let's sign off and give you some time to get a solid night's sleep, and we'll start hammering you for the prep in the days to come. But, yeah. Anyway, what's everyone got planned for gaming this week? Anything interesting? We got stuff coming up?
Oh.
Well, some of those world quests, and probably some are mellow. I'm very tempted to play it now, but it just takes too long to play one game. So
I think I'm going to capture some video of me working my way through some Hitman levels. That seems like a cool thing to do, so might be able to share with you all how that goes in the days to come. And Ollie, you should definitely give that a crack. I'm very keen to hear your thoughts.
I will. I will have a look-see.
Yeah.
And we are reviewing a game too.
We
Or
are.
talking about next week.
So what are we checking out next week as our party game of the month? Jam?
Deus Ex Go.
Yes.
I am not great at it.
Well, as long as it's not featured at the Omega-thon, that should be okay. Yeah.
Oh,
First round.
It could be Deus Ex Go. No.
Yep, so we'll be checking that out next week and of course selecting our game for the following month, which will slot neatly into a whole bundle of chaos at the end of the month.
Send in suggestions. We need more suggestions.
Can I please have a pass from the next playing the game for next
Oh,
month?
look,
I've
I
got a
think we're
whole
gonna-
bunch of other games I've got to play.
Yes.
We're going to have to talk
That is
about
fair.
how we're going to schedule
It's
that
just
anyway.
more
'Cause I think
practice.
we might have some scheduling challenges coming up at the end of that month, but we'll chat about that later. But anyway, that is it for us tonight. I would love to hear from you. Check out that stuff next week. Fun Party Game of the Month review episode. But until then, we're out. Good night.
Ciao.
Laters.
The Party Loaded podcast is a Channel Endgame production. For this and more great gaming content, bookmark channelendgame.com.